Hey, thanks for coming to 1500ESPN.com. I'm Derek Wetmore, and I'm going to share with you my 5 thoughts from Thursday's Twins game. They lost to the Tigers, and Anibal Sanchez, 13-1, lost the series, and when you combine that with their season opening series, it seems like Detroit sure has Minnesota's number. So let's get into the 5 thoughts for today. First thought is that Trevor Plouffe made a couple of fielding errors. One was on a hot smash ground ball, so it was an error with the glove. Another was a slightly different kind of error. He threw high on a ball he had to charge. Rajai Davis had laid down a bunt. Trevor Plouffe charges it and throws high to first baseman Kenny Vargas, and it was high enough that it pulled Vargas off the bag. Twins don't get the out, and when the ball kicked away, the runner also then, from first base, not only got to second, but advanced to third. So 2 errors for Trevor Plouffe, his second and third of the season. As I wrote in the column for today's game, that's uncharacteristic for Plouffe. He used to be a liability in the field, don't get me wrong. When he came up as a shortstop, I think the rap against his glove was maybe a little bit more warranted and fair. But this year, in my opinion, he's really evolved into a complete player. Even in last season, he was good with the glove. I think he's continued that into this season. He's really become an asset defensively. But that wasn't the case Thursday. 2 fielding errors hurt the Twins and sort of added up to a really incomplete game for Minnesota, whether it was fielding, pitching, hitting. They didn't do anything very well on Thursday against the Tigers. Speaking of which, thought number 2, Mike Pelfrey's had some nice starts this season. Thursday's was not so nice. In fact, I think that you could argue, based on game score, if you follow the Bill James metric, that was Mike Pelfrey's worst start of the season for the Twins. Now, I don't think it's necessarily time to break out the pitchforks and call for his rotation spot because I mentioned he's had a couple of good starts. But with the way Tommy Milone is pitching in Rochester for AAA, I would think that just about any starting pitcher not named Phil Hughes should have to earn his spot in the rotation and continually prove that he belongs to be there. And Pelfrey didn't do that on Thursday. He lasted just 4 2/3 innings, gave up 5 runs on 10 hits. I believe only 4 of those runs were earned, but still, not a great performance from Mike Pelfrey, and I know he's facing the Detroit Tigers, Miguel Cabrera, and the like, but that's not an excuse. You're supposed to get through major league lineups, and Pelfrey was not able to do that with consistency on Thursday. Thought number 3, it's actually about the Tigers, but it's kind of a general thought on baseball. Jose Iglesias, with 2 outs, he was the lead runner, and somebody lifted a bloop over the third baseman's head, right? So instead of being satisfied to take second base, Iglesias tried to stretch it and get all the way to third base. Well, Twins makeshift left fielder Eduardo Escobar picked that ball up, threw it to third base, got the out, and that means that Iglesias was the third out at third base. They say that's a cardinal sin in baseball. And I don't have the stats to prove that, to say that that is a horrible play, but just kind of intuitively, I don't like that play in baseball. You know, if he stays at second base, the Tigers have first and second, 2 outs with Ian Kinsler, Miguel Cabrera, J.D. Martinez, Yoenis Cespedes coming to the plate. Take your chances to score a run with 2 outs when even just a single to the outfield would score that run. I understand the want and the need to be aggressive on the bases. Certainly the Tigers have made that a bit of a calling card this season, but Jose Iglesias was a little overzealous, in my opinion, given some of the big boppers who were coming up behind him. Bailed out the Twins a little bit that inning. Thought number 4, speaking of shaky defense from earlier, we mentioned Trevor Plouffe, but how about Danny Santana? Continues to be a bit erratic in the field. He wasn't charged with an error on Thursday, but there was one play that he skipped a throw to Kenny Vargas. Vargas scooped it to save the error. Later in the game, though, Danny Santana pulled Vargas off the base with a throw that was too far up the line, kind of down in beyond, so to Vargas's right. And anyway, Vargas had to go off the bag to catch it. They ruled it a base hit for Anthony Goes, which surprised me a little bit. I think that was an error all the way on Santana. So, in any case, 2 throws on 2 plays that Santana should have made chest high, and he didn't. Not the end of the world, especially we're talking, excuse me, we're talking just 6 weeks into the season here, but still, Danny Santana came up as a shortstop. This was kind of the question with him last year. Can he play short on a consistent basis? We never really got to see that. He was mostly playing in center field, And the early returns so far this season, not so great for Danny Santana. I will say, with his foot speed and his great arm, I can see why the Twins would like to figure it out with him at shortstop. But, with how many errors he's made this season and even just misplays that weren't categorized as errors, like I mentioned, the early returns, not good for Danny Santana. You want to see him shore that up and really kind of solidify that left side of the infield. Thought number 5, J.R. Graham, their Rule 5 pick. I didn't do that on purpose. It's just how it worked out. The Twins' Rule 5 pick was rocked on Thursday. He gave up back-to-back triples to open his relief appearance, and then the third batter, Miguel Cabrera, got a 96-mile-an-hour fastball to his liking and deposited it in the seats. The eighth inning also did not go particularly well for J.R. Graham. It was, you hate to call it batting practice because he's got live stuff. He's got the huge fastball, but when he's not hitting his spots, when he's not locating it, Major League hitters are able to turn around speed. Just ask Torii Hunter, ask Trevor Plouffe. These are guys who would love to get a 97-mile-an-hour fastball down the gut because their hands are quick enough to be able to do something with that. J.R. Graham just has not been great through 6 weeks for the Twins, and it makes total sense why they want to keep him on their roster. I'm not criticizing them or him for that matter for the situation in which they find themselves, but it's just the way he's pitched, it's probably getting hard for manager Paul Molitor to trust him in anything resembling a close game or an important situation. He's found mostly spots where the game's already out of hand in the Twins' favor or against the Twins to use Graham this season, and I would expect that to continue because to send him to the minors, he'd have to first clear waivers and then be offered back to the Atlanta Braves as a Rule 5 selection. So I don't really expect that to happen. The Twins are kind of stuck with that one if they want to keep Graham on their roster. That'll do it for this 5 Thoughts video. Check out the website, 1500ESPN.com. I wrote a quick column on Torii Hunter on Thursday, and whether the Twins expected this or not when they signed him, he's added some nice power. The 6 home runs has been, I think, an added bonus to the lineup for what the Twins should have been expecting for Torii Hunter. And if you read the column, I go into how kind of the advanced numbers, they're not suggesting that this is a crazy, unsustainable pace for Torii Hunter. He's maybe actually made a change in his approach. Read about that approach change and the positive early returns from the Torii Hunter signing on 1500ESPN.com on that column. But I got to sign off for this video. Thanks for watching. We'll check in with you this weekend as the Twins host the Rays. Thanks for coming to the website. I'll catch you next time.